What's up, man? It's Tom from Outerworlds. I'm here with Sounds of the Future, here to answer some questions.
Is that 508?
Yeah. No, I'm back in this shit. I'm just back in this shit. I'm back in this shit. I'm just back in this shit. Yeah. Whoa. No, I'm back in this shit. I'm back in this shit. I'm back in this shit. Yeah.
I'm Tom. I go by Outerworlds. I'm a producer, engineer, videographer, editor. I'm like a DIY one-stop shop. That's not where I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be like an executive producer kind of thing, but yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So I started doing music when it was in my school band. In I think like end of elementary or middle school. I was just playing the snare drum, playing bells. I was never really good at that, couldn't read notes. But when I was like 13, I got my first computer and I just went crazy. I started downloading everything. I started researching. I didn't know a lot about music before that, even though my dad was like a huge fan of a lot of different old rock and jazz and all kinds of shit. He put me onto a ton of stuff. But it wasn't until I started really exploring on my own. I was just watching everything. I was downloading everything, and I downloaded Logic. That was the first serious software. I used like GarageBand and stuff before that, but I was like learning how to produce, and I was really just teaching myself. This is before we had all the tutorials and presets and stuff online. So I was just going through it, experimenting, and it was really like a haphazard process. And from there, I was just like recording my friends. I was having people at school. I had like a free period in school where I would just mess around on the computers, not do any of my classwork, and just mess around with the whole idea of like composing music. And at first it was just like I have all these throwaway SoundCloud accounts where I would just I have one where I like would deliberately make like the worst music I could make. And I had different ones where I would just have like an era of beats that I would make and I would upload them there. It kind of like, I'm really appreciative of myself for that because it's like a time capsule. But I slowly started gravitating towards beats. At the end of high school, I really started working on like rap stuff, started making, not just rap stuff, because before I was really into like boom bap and Dilla and stuff like that. But I started getting into like modern rap, and I was really excited by this new wave. This was like 2014 or 15, where the whole new era, Young Thug was coming around. Eventually Uzi came out, all that stuff. I was like, this stuff, it was just exciting to me. Like that dreamy ambient style of music. I feel like that's, and also 1000 Band Foundy, that's one of my favorites. I feel like that stuff all really influenced me to just like pursue this new dreamy style of music. I also had a whole era where I did ambient music, like literally just no drums, no nothing. A lot of the stuff that I draw from now is like, the stuff that I sample is ambient music. I'll even sample stuff that I made in that era, but I also really love just like Brian Eno, obscure like Harmonizer, One Otrix Point Never, Autecker was a huge influence to me. Like these sort of left field electronic acts. And I feel like that's a big part of what I'm trying to bring to music too, to rap music in particular. I know that there's like a big wave of ambient stuff, but I still feel like in terms of sampling, house music, dub techno, a lot of this stuff hasn't really been touched. It's definitely the producing side. I love music. I do everything else just because I see it as like a necessary component for what I'm doing. Like I started off just making beats, and I was like, oh, well, if I just make the beats, I'm waiting on everyone else to find a space to record and find time and get it done. So then I get all the equipment to start recording, and I'll give credit. I started working in a lot of studios. I first came out to New York in 2020. I'm from Massachusetts originally. And I came out to New York in 2020, and I was just doing any gigs that I could find. I didn't have a lot of work experience, so I just like applied to stuff on Craigslist, and I ended up working in a few studios. Shout out to my man, Benny Musa. He really put me on to a lot of shit. He showed me how to approach vocal mixing, and I didn't even run a lot of sessions there, honestly. Like, it was really just mentorship. At that time, I was like, whoa, like I'm working at a console. And I thought I knew everything there was to know about this at that point. I have my Focusrite and stuff like that. I'm a Focusrite hater now, but at the time, that was like my way in. And then I started seeing all this stuff like console routing, and there's like a whole territory of mixing that I learned about. And then I'm like, all right, I got the songs, I'm releasing stuff. I learned how to kind of run things like a label. Like Outerworlds is kind of like a de facto label too. It's really my artist project, but I made it into a label because I'm like, well, now how are the people going to put the music out? And then I'm putting the music out and I'm like, all right, well, we need visuals. So I get a camera, I start learning that. I'm like, okay, the videos are cool, but I need to do VFX. So I start learning After Effects. So it's really just a learning process. Well, yes, it was definitely necessary, but it also wasn't a direct transition. To be honest, I hated Massachusetts. I'm sorry, guys. It's really, the art scene there is really depressing. It's just, I think it's gotten better now. There's a lot of really good people. Shout out to my boy Benji, Whole Miner. There's a lot of cool crews out there doing things. But overall, when I was growing up there was no shows. Underground stuff would always get shut down by the police. I remember my first concert I went to, it was at, I think MIT campus. There's this artist, Tobacco, who does like kind of electronic, hip hop influenced stuff. It got shut down before he could do like 30 minutes of his set. And that just like soured me so much, the whole shit. I was just like, they really don't care about art here. So I lived all around the country after that. I lived in Arizona, California, fucking Chicago, Florida for a little bit. And I was just bouncing around. I was broke at the time, just crashing on friends' couches and stuff, living in my car. And when I came to New York, I was just like, this is fucking great. I didn't realize like, and I had worked in New York a little bit too. Like when I was in high school, or like right at the end of high school, I started working with like some crews in the Bronx and stuff. And yeah, I think I just realized like how much I was working against myself doing this shit everywhere else. Because LA is probably the only place that's really comparable. Everywhere else, no one is really doing art in an organized way or a serious way. So I love it here. It's definitely hard in some ways, but honestly, I've been very welcomed here, so I love it. I don't know, like I just hit the ground running. As soon as I was out of that situation, I was like, oh, there's so much opportunity here and there's so much to do, even with music, you know, like I had been doing music for years. Like I'm almost 10 years in this, but I didn't have like a streaming profile for a long time. I didn't have I just wasn't consistent with it. And I didn't understand what it could be because I just saw it as sort of like, I guess just my own personal exploration, just, you know, like a hobby. But when I came here, I saw this like this, everything's a hustle out here, you know? So I think that experience of just making everything work, make ends meet, that made me appreciate this a lot more. My goal, the way I'm pitching it right now, is like I want to be the next Rick Rubin / like Timbaland. I like the whole aspect of like being someone who kind of guides creative projects overall. That's what I've been doing with underground artists now. I want to take it into the pop realm. I want to be working with big artists, movie soundtracks, all that. But my goal is just to be like, I want to create too with Outerworlds, like a larger sort of studio network. Right now I just have my home studio, but I'm trying to build it to a point where we can open up like other locations. There's like a music education component. A lot of what I do too is like teach the artists I work with how to manage their image and their brand and like be disciplined with the way that they release stuff. So my goal is just to have enough infrastructure and enough funding to do that. I don't know when this is coming out, but on Thursday we got Whole World Boy with JP Minerali, all produced by me. That project, I'm really excited about that. It's just like a youthful kind of fun take on that same idea of like auto-tune singing. A little bit like, I would say the production angle is a little different, more like bouncy, fun, just kind of playful. We have a few singles out now too. Just keep pushing, man. I don't know if I feel like especially in this stage right now, I don't know if I have any answers for anyone. I think I'm just as much seeking as everyone else, but just keep being curious, you know, keep seeking. It'll lead you somewhere. I hope it leads me somewhere.
Back in the field, back like I never left, ready to spill. Only got one shot, I go for the kill. Could've went platinum with thoughts of the drill, but I found a better way without a deal.